I'm talking with Dr. Tim Goeglein, Vice President of External Affairs at Focus on the Family, a great friend, ally, neighbor, shares office space with us. Also author of a new memoir, Man in the Middle. And Tim, I don't have my copy. Would you be so kind to show yours? I know you have one nearby.
There it is, Man in the Middle.
Tim is there at our ministry center on Capitol Hill in Washington, D.C. I'm out on the West Coast on a short trip. But this book I highly recommend to you. It's about Tim's many years as a Christian serving in the political arena, but especially his 8 years serving with President George W. Bush in the White House. And Tim, you were on duty, of course, on 9/11/2001, that infamous day. Can you reflect a little bit on that experience for us?
Well, I'd be happy to, Rob. I remember arriving at the White House very early that morning. It was truly the most beautiful morning of the year in Washington. And I'm an early riser, so I was at the White House early. I had a breakfast meeting across Lafayette Park, but I was back to the White House a little after 9. And I had stopped into a colleague's office just to say hello. And the colleague was not there, but they had a small television set which sat atop a filing cabinet. And I glanced up and I saw a puff of smoke or something that looked like that on the television screen, and saw what I thought to be an early report of an airplane hitting one of the towers. And honestly, I thought nothing of it. My first thought was it was probably a small plane, and I really didn't think much of it. I went back to my office, and I can tell you that within the hour, it was from calm to chaos. And I write about this in Man in the Middle, and I write about it extensively. We were to have a meeting with the president that day. The president was in Florida, and upon his return, we were going to have a group of people meeting with the president. And so we were preparing that morning for that visit to make sure that it was a flawless meeting, because there was about 200 people who were going to spend time at the White House with the president. And I could go into great detail, and I do in the book, but for purposes of this chat, I remember a man coming running down the hallway at the White House telling us to get out, this is real. He looked like he had jumped into a pool because he was sweating through what I thought was a three-piece suit. And it was frankly, it was an orderly move out of the White House. But once we got out onto 17th Street and Pennsylvania Avenue, it was sheer chaos, Rob. Cars were going as fast as they could to get out of the city. The Secret Service and the police were pushing people away from the White House. I say in the book they were pushing us toward the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank, and we thought those were probably not good places to go. And so, again, without going into great detail, of which I do in the book, I ended up at a friend's office, of all things. He was the editor of a magazine called Crisis Magazine, and it was there for the next 4 hours. We watched this remarkable story unfold. I finally was able to go home after an entire day of trying to get in touch with my wife, my friends, my family, my parents. It was very frustrating that I couldn't get through to them. But the note that I need to leave on is the most important one, which is that as people were flowing out of the White House, going every which way in this scene of mayhem and bedlam, the people who were to have met with the president were fellow brothers and sisters in Christ. And instead of running and fleeing as everybody else was trying to do, they were welcoming people flowing out of office buildings, restaurants, etc., welcoming them into extemporaneous prayer circles. And they were really calming and acting as, frankly, as agents of our faith, giving them a sense of peace and calm in the middle of this scene of chaos. And so,
wow, thank you for sharing that aspect to it, because, of course, I remember that, and I'm going to be talking to all of our friends about those spontaneous prayer services, some of which were life-changing for the people who participated. And I knew, as a man of great Christian faith yourself, very deep personal spirituality, I knew prayer had to have permeated that day for you. So, Tim, thanks ever so much. I wish you so well on the book. Thanks for showing that great photo. I love it in your office. And we're going to be talking to you again about the book. I know we're a little bit ahead of the promo on this, but I wanted our people to have the inside track. Thanks, Tim, for sharing all those reflections with us.
Thank you so much.